God bless everybody. Matthew Miller here from Maranatha Ministries. Very prophetic events happening today. Well, yesterday. This is May 25th, 2026 from the Associated Press. The headline reads, Trump says it should be mandatory for more countries to join the Abraham Accords as part of Iran deal. So, here the article states, President Donald Trump said Monday that any agreement with Iran should include a requirement for several additional countries, including Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Ah, yes, the Arabo-Turkish Empire. Anyway, to join the Abraham Accords. The U.S. brokered agreements aimed at normalizing relations with Israel that were forged during Trump's first term. This is literally a forcing of the fourth antagonist in the Bible. Now, when I say that, that probably takes you by surprise, because you've been taught that the four different beast, the four different elements to the statue, this, that, and the other, occurred at different periods of time. No, that's not the point. The point is this planet will be quartered. It will be. Let me just drive this home for you, the four biblical antagonists. In Judges chapter 9, in the riddle of the bramble king, the olive, the fig, the vine, and the bramble. These four antagonists show up in Daniel chapter 2. You have the head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, and legs of iron. Now, from this point, you see in the feet partly of iron and partly of clay. This is also going to be manifested in Daniel chapter 7. This aspect that there is coming a man of lawlessness that once he performs the abominable Passover desolation, known as the abomination of desolation from Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 24, verse 15, he transforms into the son of perdition. So, Daniel chapter 7, the four beasts, lion, bear, leopard, the dreadful with the little horn, the four antagonists. Now, this even permeates to Daniel chapter 8. There's four notable horns, first, second, third, and the fourth has a little horn that comes up from it. Once again, the four antagonists. It goes to Joel, chapter 1, Joel's army. Chewing locusts, swarming locusts, crawling locusts, and consuming locusts. The tetrarchy of evil, the four antagonists. Now, this even extenuates prophetically into how every body of Christ, when Satan attacks it, it gets quartered. Listen, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, 12 and 13. Now I say this, that each of you says, I am of Paul, or I am of Apollos, or I am of Cephas, or I am of Christ. Is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Or were you baptized in the name of Paul? The four biblical antagonists, what are they? They were the Assyrio-Babylonian. Let's stop for a minute. Everybody gets all riled up about this. Nebuchadnezzar was the first king of the history book's called the Neo-Babylonian. You want to know why? They were all Akkadians. Yeah, they wrote the same thing. They wrote in Akkadian. So the Assyrians were no more different than the Babylonians. Then the northern Israelites were different from the southern Jews. Same thing. Same thing. Next was the Medo-Persian. I don't need to go at lengths about this. It was a Medo-Persian empire. Yes, it was. History knows it as this, so that's number 2. What's number 3? The Greco-Roman. The Greco-Roman. The Romans did nothing but take over the empire that the Greeks had, expanded it, and continued to use Koinonia Greek. Yes, they did. It's the literally, when you get a definition of classical history, the definition for that is Greco-Roman history. Anyway, what's the last one? The last one's different from all the rest because it is exclusively put together by religion. And this article mentioned it. It's the Arabio-Turkish Empire. Ah, yes. This is devised through religion. Let's go back to this, the 2 countries that must be forced. And they must be in a state of shock. Why would we have anything to do with the deal in Iran? But anyway, it states, should include requirement for several additional countries, including Saudi Arabia. Of course, the Muslims began as Arabs. It morphed into, and they gathered their strengths when they joined with the Turkish. That's what the Ottoman Empire was. It was Arabio-Turkish Empire. This is Daniel's 4th beast, and it is amazing to me that in the same window you have the mainstream media also coming out about the 4 alien antagonists, right? They're not space aliens. They're interdimensional beings. Take note. They come around and said there's the Nordics, there's the Greys, there's the reptilians, and there's the insectoids. Things are really ramping up in the prophetic narrative. No one understand this. It's amazing to me that this force beast is being forced into existence. I bet nobody saw that coming. Till next time, God bless, Godspeed. Please like, share, and subscribe to the videos. Bye-bye.